Your Grand Rising. What's up, everybody? How you doing? This is Coach Renz, and yes, we are starting late tonight, but I let you know that we were starting late, and we're starting late. Um, but we're going to continue in our video series of what's wrong with the Bible, and tonight it is Joshua 20 and 21. We're going to speed run through this one, so join us at about 5 minutes if you're finding us for the first time as we go through this one on a speed run because there's not a whole lot to this one. I'll be repeating some of the things I said last week, and there's only one little new thing that we're going to add. Well, it's little, but it's major new thing that we're going to add to this
we know that God
discussion.
is only good, and everything that He does is good.
Sorry about that. As you come on, let me know who you are. I'm just publishing a video that I made right before I started this one. That's another reason why I'm running behind, because I had to give some thanks out there. So before we get started, yes, Joshua is just an old book of murders and repeats of murders. Gnostics. So Gnosticism is basically the idea that Jesus was speaking of an evil God, the demiurge, in his teachings, and that it is through knowledge that you are able to get into heaven, that you, through knowledge, leave, and kind of like how you open your chakras or your kundalini or something of that nature, that you, through knowledge and self-improvement and self-understanding, that you come to a point where you can then elevate your consciousness and obtain the Godhead of Christ's mind, and then you can go to heaven. You can go and return back to what they call the Plamora, which is source energy, so to speak. It's a conscious source energy that just set up the universe, and then it created the Sophia, which is wisdom, the feminine energy, and the Plamora is basically a combination of feminine and masculine energy. And then the feminine energy is symbolized in the Plamora, and then the demiurge was then created. The demiurge is masculine energy, but that masculine energy went on his own to create the world that we live in and trapped all other spirit beings in this reality in hopes of keeping it stationary here, and keeps returning, keep what's the word there? Not replicating, reincarnating into this world, and thereby being stuck and never returning to the Plamora, because the demiurge wants to rule everything. So this is the idea of Gnosticism, is that through knowledge and understanding of yourself and the universe, almost hermetic, well, it is hermetic in a sense, that you then gain your freedom from this existence and are no longer trapped by the demiurge, and you rise up to Plamora and obtain your light body. So that's just a brief run through of Gnosticism. Maybe it's probably a conversation that we can have a longer conversation about soon, about that one, about Gnosticism. Matter of fact, we'll put that on the list. I'm downloading the video. Hopefully it'll get all finished up before we get started. Here, I'm gonna say this twice at least, or thrice. To that one person who donated to the cause, that one person who went to the cigar god, and the cigar god told him to supply Coach Renz with some cigars. To that one person, I thank you. Now your smoke will be running over. Your smoke will plume into the universe, and you will get a return of the smoke, because I know the person who donated it. I know them personally, and I know that they are also connoisseurs of the cigar. They are practitioners in cigarisms. So to that boat, that brother of the leaf, that's right, the boat, brother of the leaf, who donated to the Cigar Fund. You are greatly, greatly, greatly appreciated. Thank you. Thank you. I was feeling some kind of way. I was thinking that y'all didn't love me. But I know at least one person loves me. And I appreciate it. Now, many more can continue. You can fall in line and donate to the Cigar Fund. They donated a whole $60. So we got a few cigars. Now let's get into our conversations tonight. Before I get into it, do you believe that we come back or in a greater power? Yes and no. As I explained, not this past Monday, but the Monday before, what we know is that our consciousness exists. What we know is that like attracts like. And this happens on every energetic level. We are all energy. Our consciousness is energy. Our thoughts are energy. Our body is energy. Everything is energy. You want to understand the world, as Tesla said, energy, frequency, and vibration. It is my contention, based on the knowledge that we have right now, and of course, this knowledge can change, that if a person doesn't elevate their consciousness to the point where they are able to maintain cohesion of their consciousness when they leave this form, that their consciousness will, most of their consciousness will disperse out. And the core of your consciousness, that 25% of who you are, will maintain itself. As it lives in the energetic universe, it will attract like elements from other consciousness that have been dissipated. You will then, at some point, when enough cohesion occurs, return back to this earth, but you won't be you, or return to some form of conscious living. May not be on earth, but you won't be you. You'll be somebody else. You'll be something else. Then you'll have experiences, and those experiences will further develop your consciousness, just as it has in this life, because 75% of who you are is based on your experiences of life. Now, for those of us who have elevated our consciousness to the level that we are able to maintain cohesion once we leave this body, you will manifest and create into the next higher level, or the next 5 levels up, or 6 levels up, relative to your ability to upgrade your consciousness. So, now, it's either that, or you just go in total darkness, total oblivion. All your energy just dissipates and goes and is attracted to other energy forms that are similar enough to who you are, or your deep conscious thoughts. Not the ones that were programmed into you, indoctrinated into you, not your culture, not your nationality, your gender, your race, not all of that, but to your core. So, that's what I think right now. And the only devil that exists is the one that's inside of you. It's that negative portion of your brain that causes you to do things that are against your own good nature. But there's no God that's lording over. There's no God that's telling you to worship this, worship that. There's no God that's telling you to sacrifice this or sacrifice that. Those are all illusions that are created by the mind and created by man, because they don't understand the universe. If you can understand the universe and how it functions, then you can understand your own mind and your own consciousness, and you can grow from there. And you want to grow from there. That's part of the purpose of why I'm here. But hold on for a second. I didn't load this video because I just made it. You know, I don't know how to spell heifer. Oh, Heffer. So how's everybody doing tonight? We all doing well. We got a little rain today. We needed some rain here in San Antonio. Hei. I thought that that's how you spell it. I wasn't sure. Yeah, understanding personal power is the key, Rochelle. Personal power is the key. I'm gonna have to correct that spelling. That I just put on. I've spelled heifer wrong a bunch of times on quite a few other videos. I might need to take the time to go back and fix that. Knowing me, I probably won't. Now, knowing me, I probably will. Wait a minute. See, my Google spell, my little spell check don't come up and correctly spell it for me. I used to be a good speller, but that time has long since passed. Do I believe in witchcraft? No, not in the sense that people think about witchcraft. There's energy, there's frequency, and what people call witchcraft, I would call alchemy, and that is just the ability to be able to utilize frequency and energy at a level that scientifically we don't understand it yet to manifest things. So, like when people say they manifest something in their life, really all you did was channel your energy, your mental energy, and your physical energy in order to bring something about. Now, are you going to sit here and just, oh, I got the job. I didn't send my resume. Um, I didn't have an interview. But I got the job. And the job's gonna come. No, that's not gonna happen. That's not gonna happen at all. You fixing your mind a job that you want. You fixing your energies to get yourself to be qualified for that job. You fixing your mind to go and submit your resume to have it written well, and you fixing your mind to go do the interview, and you practice and get yourself ready for the interview. You go in there, you do a good job, and if they like your energy, they bring you onto the team. You manifested it, but through your own mental thoughts and physical actions. Now, some people are just more attached to that. They understand that. And that level of understanding helps you to elevate who you are. All right. You think I'd have manifested this cigar if I hadn't put some mental thought and then some physical actions behind it? No. If I hadn't said nothing about donating to the cigar fund, this cigar would have never manifested itself. Mm-hmm. Now, as far as seeing things and recognizing abilities, demons, angels, energies, whatever that is, we can recognize the energy of other people. You've been around that person and you was like, oh, something don't feel right them. Or, ooh, feel like something ain't right in the world. We have that. If you learn to listen to your gut brain, you'll be surprised at how many times you make the right decision for you in your life. Most of the time, we second guess that instinctive gut brain, and we go off and we screw ourselves over and not doing the right things for ourselves. Just like today, me and my wife was at the we was at the horse track because they had a free day at the horse track, and they was allowing you to watch the horses do a practice run. And just based on some intuition, we was picking who showed. We didn't get it right all the time, but just looking at the horses, we started picking who showed. Then we started evaluating the stride of the horse as they first came out, what their gait looked like, and all that kind of stuff. We started getting them. We started getting some of them. We was placing. We was showing. We wasn't placing, but we was showing like a champ. I'm trying to get these loaded before. On Facebook and the before I get started here. Now we're going to be going through today's course is what's wrong with the Bible. We in Joshua 20 and 21. And just like last week, I'm not going to read every word of this one because it'll bore you guys to death. And I know y'all will be over there having your own conversations because it is boring. So we're going to speed run this a little bit. All right, everything's getting loaded. There we go. Now I can focus. I can focus now. Whew. Y'all just don't know. Y'all just don't know. I was detoxing. I was going through the DTs. All right, so when we talk about Joshua, of course, we've been talking about the fact that Joshua did not exist, that his time frame doesn't match up to actual historical time frame. We were also coming to the realization that the land and the cities that Joshua claimed that he conquered, that those lands and cities were never actually conquered by Joshua himself. That 19 and 20, so we're doing 21 and 22, sorry. So we just went through how they allotted all these towns to people, and they did the refuge cities for someone who murdered somebody. And 21 goes more into the breaking down of the land that was given to the Danites and the people of Dan, the tribe of Dan, the tribe of Manasseh, or the half tribe of Manasseh, and the tribe of Ephraim. So 21 just basically goes through a list of other cities and pasture lands that were given to these people. And as we said last week, we demonstrated that none of those lands at any time frame would have been controlled by the Israelites. As a matter of fact, during the time frame of Joshua, those lands were still under the rulership of Egypt. So we know that the entirety of 21 is a false record and doesn't fit into the historical narrative. So anytime you're reading about how the Gershonites and the families of the Levites were given out the half tribe of Manasseh, Golan in Bashan, with the pasture lands and the city of refuge for the slayers, and Beersheba with its pasture land, we know that those things, and that was verse 27 out of 21. We know that those are just not true, that just didn't happen. There's no archaeological data that demonstrates it, and as anything, the archaeological data demonstrates that they did not own this land or control this land. They didn't kill off the Canaanites as they were instructed to do so, and we know the Danites failed in doing so, and instead claim that they made those people their slaves, since they couldn't completely genocide them. So we know that Joshua was calling for genocide of all these people, yet these people still existed in those lands. And all of them were under the control of Egypt, because Joshua is supposed to be happening around 1200 BCE. And we know that Egypt didn't lose this territory until around 1100 BCE, at the end of when the Bronze Age collapse happened. and that most of these Israelites didn't start acquiring land until the beginning of the Iron Age, the early Iron Age, which would put it around 1000. Now, this is why they put the Davidic dynasty, the Solomonic dynasty, in that 1000 to 900 time frame. But we know it didn't last because the Assyrians then began to conquer and take the land that Egypt once owned in this area, in the Levant. So all these stories of Joshua is just a lie. Now, when you get to chapter 22, like I said, we're speed running through this. The only thing that's interesting in Joshua 22 is an understanding and an excuse of why the later churches were able to justify destroying people's temples and rededicating them to this God. So when you get to around Joshua, where is it? Somewhere around, right around 21, because it goes on to talk about how these three tribes, the Reubenites and the Gadites and the Messonite, and went into this land of Canaan that they weren't able to destroy the people. But they had a little problem. They had a little internal problem. So that the way it goes said, then the Reubenites and the Gadites and half the tribe of Manasseh said, wait a minute, nope. So it starts a little bit earlier than that. Starts around verse 10. It says, when they came to the region, and this is the Reubenites and the Gadites and half the tribe of Manasseh, when they came to the land near Jordan that lies in the land of Canaan, the Reubenites, the Gadites, and half the tribe of Manasseh built there an altar by the Jordan, an altar of great size. The Israelites heard that the Reubenites, Gadites, and half the tribe of Manasseh had built an altar opposite of the land of Canaan in the region, near the Jordan across from the Israelites. And when the people of Israel heard it, the whole assembly of the Israelites gathered in Shiloh to make war against them. Basically, they went over into this land of the Canaanites and they took over a temple and rebuilt an altar on the very spot that the Canaanites had the altar. And the other Israelite tribes thought that they were going against this God. I'm going to paraphrase some of the rest of this. So they came up against them. They put a group of people together and they was ready to make war against them because they were like, hey, don't you remember what happened in Peor? You know, when we went and they started worshiping the Canaanite gods. And don't you know what happened with Ashan when he took what was supposed to have been God's and kept it for himself? And, you know, a great woe fell over the Israelites. God abandoned them for all the people for the acts of a few. And so they came up to them and they were complaining. They were like, dude, what y'all doing? Y'all finna start some bullshit and we ain't gonna have this. We gonna kill y'all for it. And so those three tribes came to the meeting and they were like, no, we ain't do that. That ain't what we did. We didn't make any sacrifices to the Canaanite God. We didn't give any offerings to it. We didn't build an altar to them. We built this altar to praise Yahweh, to praise El, to praise the God of the Israelites, to show that we are a witness to the God of Israel. Matter of fact, we even call it that it's a witness. We call them the altar witness. As it says in verse 34, the Reubenites and Gadites called the altar witness, for they said, it is a witness between us and the Lord is God. So they were saying that, hey, we're saying that El is God. We're not claiming the Canaanite God. And then the rest of the tribes was like, oh, my bad. That's what we thought y'all was doing. Now, this whole sequence of events at times have been used for when, like Helena, Constantine's mother, went to Israel, and on top of a temple that was dedicated during Hadrian's time frame to Aphrodite, they tore it down and rebuilt a church on top of it just like in Rome, St. Peter's was a pagan worship temple. Many of the temples that you would go to, many of the churches that you would go to in Rome, used to be the temples of Zeus and temples of Apollo and all these other gods. And so they said, no, we're going to rededicate these temples and make them for Jesus and make them for Peter and the apostles. And we're going to change who they are a representative of, just as Joshua and them did, and just as other Christians throughout time immemorial have taken the pagan churches and turned them into worships for this God. This idea comes from Joshua. Joshua 22 is where this idea comes from. As a matter of fact, if you go to many of these churches, when I visited them in throughout Rome and throughout the Mediterranean, whether I was in Turkey or Rome or Greece, you will see that a lot of them have what's called a devil's keyhole. And it's just a circular window at the top that allows the sun to come in at certain times of the day and to shine a light on what's supposed to be like the holiest of holies. Yep, they did this with the Mithraic temples and the temples to Dionysus. And so you go there and you'll see these temples. You'll see all the gargoyles and all the other statues that are still there that represents the previous deity that was supposedly living in the temple. But all of these were merely just them converting what was someone else's religion into their religion. And so they put their crosses up, they built their altars, they put their saints, they created their labyrinth. Some they tore completely down, others they kept a certain amount of it. If it was built with good bones, they kept those bones in there. So this is what's going on here in Joshua 22, is that they're taking somebody else's religious property and converting it to their own. And that's pretty much what's going on in this aspect of Joshua 21, 22. Other than that, they're just making claims that they historically never had. You know, said, oh, you're talking to somebody else, but yeah. Yeah, the Hermetic rites to Hermes. The Hermes stuff was Hellenized from the Egyptian god Thoth or Tehuti to mix it up and say that, oh, Tehuti is just like Hermes. So Hermetic became the common name for it because of who was in charge at the time frame. The Knights Templars never had a Baphomet. That was something that was a modern day creation that was then attached to the Knights Templars. The Baphomet wasn't created, I believe, until like the 1800s, 17 or 1800s. And so that was something that was then retconned to the Knights Templars. The Knights Templars have never worshipped the Baphomet. Matter of fact, some of the lies that was it King Charles of France, I think it was Charles, was saying that, hey, those guys are pissing on the cross, and they're worshiping the head of John the Baptist. They were saying those kinds of things. They didn't say anything about a Baphomet. That was a later retcon. Which I always find interesting how modern day people will pick a point, retcon it back, and then, well, people 200 years ago retcon something, and then people today believe that it was the retcon is true when there's actually zero proof of it. So, but it just, yep. Just like chematology said, this is all just ancient propaganda in order for them to justify taking over a building and making it their own, or to add something to people that they didn't like. Just like Jerome and all of them, and Caesar and Eusebius of Caesarea added things to the Marcions, added things to the Valentinans, who were other Christian sects that was more Gnostic in their thought process, in order to make them look bad. But the Hermeticism, because the European Mediterraneans took over and were conquering, they took Tahuti and retconned that into Hermes to make him thrice great, right? Mm-hmm. This is so nice. So nice, gotta burn it twice. Oh, the cigar god is happy today. Cigar god is happy. I know the person who donated to the cigar fund is not on here, but I'm gonna constantly thank you. Thank you, thank you. But so, and then when you do look at the Hermes, Doriel's version of the Hermeticum, which is condensed into these 13 tablets, well, 11 tablets. The last two are supposedly so powerful that no one's ever seen them. He basically took the Corpus Hermeticum, the Secrets of Secrets, and kind of cobbled them all together and claimed that it was coming from Thoth the Atlantean. When in truth, Hermeticism and alchemy has Arabic flavor to it, has Greek flavor, has Kemetic flavor to it, has flavors from many different societies who understood frequency and vibration and knew something about sacred geometry and the will of the mind, the power of the mind, which is one of the reasons why I like it so much. And then you got writings of Lao Tzu of the Tao. Don't know if Lao Tzu ever existed, but we know the writings do. This is going too fast. This is going like when I'm sitting and smoking it without talking. I might talk a little more. Right, yeah. How they take stuff, like Sean is saying, they take stuff, then they reprint it, and then they claim that they were the originators of it and claim that they built it, they created it. I give Cosimo Medici and his people credit that they identified that they sent out scribes to go and find the information to create the Corpus Hermeticum. It wasn't something that they created. They admit that they pulled this information from Egypt, from the Levant, from the Eastern doctrines of the Tao and Buddhism and so on and so forth. They truly know where they got it from. I used to always find this interesting when I was a Christian. When pastors would get up and they would say things like, "Oh, see, the Bible has been hermetically sealed. You know, it is through the hermeneutics of it." And see, if you understand what hermetically sealed means, is when they used to hold a pot up to the light. And if you hold a pot up to the light, you can see where it was cracked or anything like that. And so you knew that the pot wasn't as good. But if the pot, you hold it up to the light and the pot doesn't have any cracks in it, then it was hermetically sealed, meaning that it was complete. It was built once from one material, made the best way. And then they flip that into the hermeneutics and so on. It's like, come on, man. Y'all stealing somebody else's stuff and trying to make it your own. John is right. Alchemy is alchemy. It manifests itself as itself. So it needs not manifest itself the same way twice. even though you can achieve the same outcome twice. Right. Alchemy is just straight alchemy. Now, there's an alchemical process that I plan on starting. Ooh, damn, probably in about a month or so. Got to go through some cleansing. See if I can make a philosopher's stone. Yes, and for anything to be created, it starts with your mind. The law of mentalism has always been true, no matter who looking at it, what they say, it has never changed. Everything that is in our reality started as a manifestation in the mind first, and then the work was put forth in order for it to become reality. But all these things, if you, and this is why land, and I use the term hermetics, but this is why I land on that, on alchemy, on hermetics, because no matter what happens, what philosophy or religion that anybody comes up with, at the end of the day, hermetics, alchemy is always the same. It never changes. Got to turn that lead into gold. Now, really, what they're talking about here, instead of turning lead into gold, is really it's the idea of turning your lead thoughts, your lead actions, your lead words into gold to purify your mind, to purify your body, to purify your words, purify your actions. That's actually what it's talking about. Now, don't get me wrong. I would love to be wrong and make a philosopher's stone and be able to touch a piece of lead with it, and that lead turn to gold. That's going to change the economics very quickly, very easily. I would also love for it to be true, because once you eat the philosopher's stone, it is supposed to rejuvenate the body. And all these little back pains and knee pains and all that, I want that rejuvenation to be real. Not even gonna lie. There's a hope that I have when it comes to the philosopher's stone. And the main one is not even turning lead into gold. The main one is the rejuvenation of the body. Because I need more time to study and develop. You know, I desire more time to study and develop. So for those, see, I see Raph. See, I'm gonna tell you, Raph. I ain't gonna tell you when to do it. Can't tell you. There was this was about 10, 15 years ago, maybe 15, yeah, at least 15 years ago. At least about 15 years ago. There was the monatomic gold is the runoff from being able to create that philosopher's stone. Yeah. But that's what they say. But there was a, what do you call them? Nowadays you would call them a, I don't know. I'm gonna call it a blog. It's not a. It was a blog back then. It was called a blog. Um, we call it something different today, where people gather and talk. But there was this forum based on this website a while back, and people were trying to create. It had the book for you to learn, and people were looking to create the philosopher's stone. The problem is that as long as people was trying to do it, nobody had a problem with it. But then after about 6 years or so, and I was never trying it at that time, but after about 6 years or so, people started saying that they were able to do it. They created it. And people, many tries, many failures, but people claim that they did it. And then all of a sudden, the whole page, the whole Discord, that's what we call it today, the whole Discord just disappeared. And you can still find the publication online. And I'm trying to find it right now. I know I hid it on my computer. And I think I hit it so well, I hit it from myself. So I can't see what y'all are typing right now because I'm trying to find this damn thing. But many of y'all ain't gonna like. I read it once, but I'm gonna have to read it again. Because I was of the mindset that I'm gonna let these other people do it first, and then once they got it, then when I start seeing people say they did it and it worked, then I'll try it. I'm gonna let some other people take this time because I'm honestly I didn't like what you have to do in order to create this philosopher's stone, and I'm pretty sure many of y'all won't like it either. But I wasn't in a situation where I had the time or the environment to be able to do it. But it was one of the reasons why I was changing what I was eating for a while. And I'm getting back to that so that this thing can be accomplished. I know y'all saying stuff, but I'm trying to find this document that I hid from my damn self. Let me see what y'all saying real quick. Because I might even have to stop smoking for a minute in order to do this thing. Well, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have to stop smoking for a minute to do it. Okay. What do y'all think the primary element is involved in creating the philosopher's stone? I know I went off the subject matter that fast. But what do y'all think is the primary element? Where in the hell did I hide that damn thing at? It might be should be under user. I hid the damn thing from myself so well I can't even find it. This is some bull. That I hid it from myself. I'm gonna have to find it because I can't even think of the name of it. Let me start my computer on a search. I know what to put in here. I don't debate to convince anyone, just as you do. Hey, Coach. Good to see you, Christopher. None of y'all gonna take a guess at what the prime element is. You ain't gonna like it. I can tell you that right now. I can tell you right off the bat, you're not gonna like it. Oh shit. Nobody's taking a guess at what that prime element is. Everybody has access to it as well. But it must be purified. Pure. I only talked about this once or twice on videos, so it'd be hard to find it. No, it's not weed. It's not weed. Ding, 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 ding. We have a winner. So Terry, you were close. You was close. It would be nice if all it was water, but that would be even better. That would be even better. But Boondocks got it right. Debbie got it right. Debbie, did you get it right because you remember the video where I talked about that? Well, I think it was a live. I know Debbie been with me for a while. But yes, the primary ingredient is piss, urine. But you have to purify your body first. So I want you to think about something. Aleister Crowley, what was the name of his organization? And it is believed that there are a few who have achieved this throughout history, and that they have the Count of Saint Germain. So if you don't know who the Count of Saint Germain is, you might want to look him up. But the Count of Saint Germain is supposedly a record of someone who achieved the Philosopher's Stone. Yeah, Debbie, remember. Yes, it was. So I forgot who did it. I think it was John Dees, who was a known practicing alchemist, but it may not have been John Dees. But he, in his process of whoever it was, in their process of trying to create the Philosopher's Stone, ended up creating phosphorus. And I'm gonna tell you, my wife gonna be mad at me when I make it, because it's gonna stink up the house. Because you gotta boil it, you gotta boil it, then you have to purify it. You know, take all the negative elements out. Then you gotta purify it again. You gotta keep doing it. So it takes a lot. It takes you doing it a couple times. So it sounds like a Castlevania character. Now just look at the Saint Germain. No, actually, Carl Jung was an alchemist as well. See, a lot of those people back in the day had to hide that they were alchemists because it went against the church. And the thing about it is that these people also followed the church, a lot of them. I think Carl Jung didn't, though. I think he was an atheist. Right. There was a real person named Saint Germain. Some say he was a scam artist. Some say he wasn't. But there is a royal, I forgot what, she was a princess and then became queen of, I think, like Spain or Portugal, somewhere around in there, France, Spain, or Portugal, on that whole Iberian Peninsula, where she was like, hold on, I met this dude when I was a kid. But I believe Aleister Crowley organization was called the Golden Dawn. Think about golden. Most people think he was talking about gold. It wasn't called the Golden Dawn because of gold. I'm pretty sure that was, what was it? Let me look it up real quick. What is the name of Aleister Crowley's organization? Why don't want to tell me? Oh, because they didn't put it in there, right? Aleister Crowley. The Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn was the name of his organization. Theosophy, that was the Blavatsky lady, I think. The Theosophical Society. But the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. It was not called the Golden Dawn because of gold. Most who understand what Aleister Crowley was talking about, for the most part, now the OTO was another one of his organizations, but the Golden Dawn one was the one that, ooh, this cigar is moving. Shoot. I'm already taking the thing. Oh, it's a smaller ring gauge. That's why it's a smaller ring gauge. Is how round this cigar is. Oh. He was dubbed the most evil man in America, or at least the world, one of them. I'm mad that I can't find the goddamn on book that is. I can't believe I hid this damn book so well from myself. I believe Aquarius was in the name. It's been a few years since I read it. Quite a few years, actually. It's been about 5 years since I read it. So it should be on this laptop because I've had this one for 5 years. You have a book with all the rituals and grays of the Golden Dawn that can be done in your own home. All right, now. I do not have that book. So you never got past the neophyte grade? Oh, I'm mad that I cannot remember the title of this book. Because I don't want to be the only one doing it. I want some of y'all to do this with me. Debbie, I'm pretty sure you don't remember the name of that book either. But it was that group. As soon as people were like, oh, I did it. And it was like all of a sudden there was this wave of people who was like, I did it, I accomplished it, I did it, I accomplished it. And then the whole site just went dark. It was gone. But I know another way of being able to figure it out. Because there was somebody else I know of who was talking about it. Sean said, you down, but now it does take a lot of devotion and dedication to be able to do it, because you got to keep it in a certain temp. You got to keep it at a certain temperature, a certain humidity. All those things have to be maintained. If you don't, it's not going to work. This is why the book was saying that you should have like 3, 4, 5 jars of it in order to do it. But you definitely got to purify your body first. You can't put crap in your body. Sean said he down, but you got to think about it like this. You will boil it. You will boil it down, purify it, boil it down, purify. You basically boil it down until it becomes like this black glow stone, and then you keep on working with the black stone till it becomes a red stone. You keep working with the red stone till it becomes a white stone, and it's like a whole process. If I'm saying the order right, as far as the colors that the stone are supposed to become. Because what renewed my interest in it was I saw another guy who I can't stand him sometimes, who talked about, he did a video about Saint Germain and he talked about it. And I already had the book, but I forgot that I had the book. Let me see if he put it in his descriptions. And I'm watching this guy because he hinted at the fact that he was going to do it himself. I'm mad that I cannot find this damn thing. All right, so you have to think about, I want you I want you to think about something for a minute, Christopher. Your urine is supposed to be in a process of decalcifying and purifying your body, right? So as you decalcify, since it's something that's supposed to have purified your body, the essence of it, what you're trying to get to is the essence of it. And once you achieve the essence of it, it allows for you to, for it to, well, like I said, becomes purified and become that philosopher's stone. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, if you're on a bunch of meds and stuff, I don't know. No, it's not a kidney stone. It's not. Kidney stone is all that calcium buildup that you had. And I told you guys, once I saw my colonel passing the kidney stone from his kidneys to his bladder, I started paying attention to, high calcium food. If they destroy the Dome of the Rock in order to build it, yeah, it's going to start World War III. Actually, part of the video that I just published right before I started this talks about it, because I talked about the red heifers again and all that sort of thing. I'm mad at that. I don't know, maybe I'm on the wrong video of his where he talked about it. Maybe it's on this one. But it would, because of people's emotions towards their religions. If they were to build this, now they would have to, if they don't destroy the Dome of the Rock, then we should be fine. And I'm saying should be. The Book of Aquarius. The Book of Aquarius. That's the name of it. And you still may be able to find copies of it out there because, once something is online, it's hard to get rid of. I'm mad that I don't have it on I can't find it on my computer. I know I got it because I emailed it to a couple of people who said they wanted to try it. So who's willing to try it with me? Yes, there are a lot of books on the Philosopher's Stone, but the one that was in this Discord that people started claiming that they've created it was in one called the Book of Aquarius. Who's going to build it, young man? It's a Harry Potter. Book of Aquarius. Where did I hid that damn thing from my own self real well? Knowing me, it is on my laptop in a hidden folder with encryptions all on the damn folder. Debbie says she'll pass. No, and I do think that America would be very interested in building this third temple and, you know, in its support of Israel, not only because these Christians, they want the Armageddon stuff to be real. They need for it to be real. They need for it to be real. Although they claim they don't need validation of their religion, they need these things to happen in order for them to be able to say that, oh, my religion is real. It is real. Because look at what happened. The Antichrist is taking over and this and that, and the one world government and one world religion and one world currency. Personally, I wouldn't be mad about a one world government. I would really like to get rid of borders. I think it's dumb that we have borders and nations. We are all citizens of Earth. You know, in this current form that we're in, we're all citizens of Earth. So I would love to get rid of that. But that is a problem. War is money, and money rules the world. You know, um, but if we can get rid of that, I'd be very happy to get rid of the one and have one world government. Think about it. If you have one world government, then we can actually probably take care of the world a lot better. Better trade, better economies, fairness. Well, it'll be a better fairness as far as the world is concerned. You know, I can go where I want to go. It will be hard though. You got to get all the laws got to be the same. It won't be hard, easy. Yeah, we'll be able to feed the whole world, provide global levels of comfort to everyone. If only, yeah. And we're still gonna have some issues, but it'll eliminate a whole bunch of issues. Because people in certain countries shouldn't have to pay just to have basic things that other countries have. So why don't you agree? Like, what is the negative effect of one world government or one world order? Just curious. Where the hell did I hide it? Here we go. Let's see. Would I be able to bring that up? Trying to save this screenshot of it. I don't know if it worked. National equality is a problem to one world government. We're in a class war, and the class war will still continue, even if there's a class war in every country. Every country has a class war, and it'll still continue. Have a better understanding and agree to, and we can agree to disagree on that. And you crazy as hell. We're definitely not all gonna follow the 10 Commandments, because then you got to worship this God. Yeah. The only sentient creatures on the planet that use a monetary system. Unfortunately. Now, if you did have a one world government, if that started today, I don't think they would enforce a one world religion. I think freedom of religion, which most countries have some level of it, would be the main thing. That would be how most of us would exist, more like that. Now, if you go looking for the Book of Aquarius, this is the version you want to find. For those that want to participate in this experiment, that's the version that you want to find. I do think that COVID was an attack on certain world's economies, on certain countries. I think it's interesting that COVID came out right when a lot of African countries were having, years of return. It was a way to get everybody to stay home. I read A Brave New World. Is that the one back in school that you read about the little kids being on the island and they were worshiping the head of a pig? And they had the little chant, orgy, porgy, food and fun, orgy, porgy, something, something. Is that? No, there's not one world religion. I disagree. I don't think everybody's fighting over the same but a different version. The Buddhist ideas are very different from, the Christian idea. There is no God in Buddhism. I think you can make a case of how many of the larger religions do have a lot of similarities of the belief of one God, and then any other deity or angels are just aspects of that God. I think a case can be made for that. That's Lord of the Flies. Thank you. That's Lord of the Flies. I don't remember if I've read A Brave New World then. I'd have to look at it to remember it, to see if I read it before. It's camera. Whew. You're right. I do agree that Buddhism is more of a philosophy. But that's why I was saying that in the other religions where we're talking about Hinduism, Islam, Ifa, your all your other religions, they all do have this supreme deity, and from that supreme deity, all things are created, or that supreme deity took over from or the new supreme deity took over from the previous supreme deity. The only problem is everybody think that their way is the right way. But that's why I like how Hinduism, they just say that, hey, yeah, there are many pathways to God. You can be Christian and get to God. You can be Islamic. You can be Ifa. You can be Buddhism and Voodoo and Santeria. You can be all these other religions and still get to God. So Brave New World is about a one world religion and how it affects one world government and how it affects society. It's on the lines of A Clockwork Orange or Animal Farm. I've seen A Clockwork Orange and I've read A Clockwork Orange. Work Orange. Okay. That might be an interesting that would be an interesting read. No, I wouldn't say Hinduism is a philosophy because they do have gods that they worship. They worship Brahma, they worship Shita, they worship um, Krishna, and all these other gods. They give food to it. They got statues of them. But there would have to be a respect for everybody's religion in order for it to work. And I think that if there was a one world government, there would be a respect for everyone's religion. The governments will have to stay out of the religion. But they would, I'm all for it. I think a one world government is better than what we've done in the current history of man for the last 10, 12,000 years. I think we would be more like Star Trek as far as how society functions. Not so much, Star Trek, religion kind of fell away. And if you think about it, we have one world government. There are brilliant minds that are not able to obtain or see their brilliance because of the lack in certain other countries. The lack in other countries keep kids who are developing. I mean, you can just be on social media and see how so many you got kids in these countries that don't have access to the same education, but yet they create amazing technology or they figure certain things out. Give those kids an opportunity to learn everything that we know in science. How far along would we be in the next 50 years? Yeah, I agree. They were personifications of nature, but they still worship those personifications of nature as gods and personalize them. And what is the word called when you make something human? I think we'd all be better if we was Buddhist. Hmm. This would be okay. We can have. So I don't know if I told y'all we're going to change the meetup for a week after. No, I didn't tell y'all. We're going to change the meetup for a week after Halloween. So that first weekend in November. The reason being is because I did not realize that we will be moving our leases up here on Halloween. So that's just too much going on for us. And we realized that down in Corpus Christi, you can have a bonfire on the beach. You can drive on the beach. So we can get nature and city kind of at the same time in the same space. So we're going to have it down there. And then we can have fireside chats and things like that, um, as well as sessions. So we're going to shift it just a little bit to 1 week later, Corpus Christi. We can still have a costume party. My wife ain't gonna let me get away with not having a costume party. We're still gonna do that. What, you gonna put AI in charge of it? You don't wanna do that. You know, ones and zeros, that's not gonna work. There has to be a human quality to it. Has to be. Well, now this is the hard part. How would there be balance if everything is all in one order? So you would have to, unlike how the educational system in America is not balanced. But if we took like the Norwegian educational system, we can provide more balance to the world where everybody has an opportunity to go to school. Everybody has equal classes in school for the most part, and you get to test your way through to see where you are more proficient in. And this would help because now these schools that are lacking in funding, lacking in teaching, they can, and it'll take time to get more balance in it, but there's always going to be some level of being out of balance. Your lesser income areas are always going to be behind those who can afford better, higher educational levels. But look at how far it will progress those areas that are lacking. But it's never going to be perfect balance. Boondocks, I'm not even paying young man any attention. He doesn't deserve my attention. That's why I called him there. I didn't call you nowhere. But yeah, I mean, think about it. You got medical science will be able to grow and be proliferated more equally around the world. The STEMs education will proliferate more around the world. Access to technology, access to information will be even better than it is now. And warfare, for the most part, should go away. The only thing we should have to, I mean, there'll be some groups that feel that are being mistreated, and there will still be uprisings here and there and protests here and there. There'll be some people who aren't getting their fair shake, and they will feel like the only way to do so is to rise up. So we're still gonna have some problems, but one country bombing the shit out of another country would go away. but we would certainly be in a better situation. The world would be. And then when the evil aliens come, we can fight them together instead of, you know, depending on a few countries. Mm-mm-mm. Y'all just don't know. Once again, to the one person who plied me with the essence from the cigar god, I want to thank you. I want to thank you for it. That doesn't mean that y'all don't have to. That now has been taken care of. It's a continuous process. You know, replicators would be the best invention ever made. Replicators, bar none, the absolute best. Especially if somebody was created it and then just put it out, put that technology out for free. You know, if you try to hoard it and make it something and trying to make money off of it, that's going to mess it up for a long time. But if it was just put out there for free, everybody had access to it, the world had access to it, replicators would end so many things. Now, of course, you want to, the level of security that needs to be on it is extremely high. You don't want people making weapons, but just to make food, to make water, clean water, to make clothing. Is that the planet? It's like 10 times bigger than Earth. It's in the, where was it? I forgot what star it was supposed to be near, but I did hear something about that. So God loves Lorenzo. Who is that? Because I don't know who Lorenzo is. I've made, I know many Lorenzos, but I don't know who Lorenzo is. Anthropomorphized. Thank you very much, Salter. That's the word I was couldn't think of earlier. Hmm. Running out of coffee. It's all right. I got some water. Yeah. Love, hate, war, peace will always be opposites in their order, but there's balance. But their balance comes from. I think one world government will provide so much of that. It will provide so much of it, so much balance in the world that, I mean, who are you hating? Now we do devolve a bit back into a system of tribalism, uh, people, but we have that within countries. You know, growing up in Atlanta, we couldn't stand people from New York or Chicago. Didn't mind that people from LA and the people from Texas and the Midwest and all those areas. We just couldn't stand New Yorkers, Philadelphians, the Jersey people. We ain't like them, and the Bostonians. We ain't like those people. And it was mainly because of their attitude when they came down south. They always thought that, oh, y'all speak slow, y'all must be dumb. We didn't like them. So you'll still have levels of tribalism that happen. You'll still have a sense of, I was born and raised in the colony of America, or whatever, the province of America. I was born and raised in the province of Zaire. People will still have those tribal things about them, but at least we will still be functioning as one world. My wife is working on her rolling technique. Once she's able to roll, once she's confident in her roll, Yeah, I put them out here for people to be able to buy them. We do have to order some more leaves on the first. Use the butt to make some strong spliffs. But yeah, as soon as she feels confident in her cigar rolling, we will. I'll put those out. Yeah, you get one world, and the need for bombs decreased tremendously. The need for nuclear bombs decreased. It will be more like we need those to uh, when the meteorites start heading to us, and we need to blow that out the sky. Hopefully, yeah, and we'll find reasons to fight each other, but at least it'll be minor thing. Like the people in this country don't feel like the world is taking care of them, and they'll be like, "We're gonna leave," or "We don't like y'all, y'all not," and that'll. But now it's a worldwide outcry. You know, you're gonna have people that say, "Yeah, they aren't being treated well." Same thing you have within any country. I never heard that before, but it makes sense. No mouse would make a mousetrap. If we was one world, if we had become one world in the 19, well, let me go farther back in like the 1800s, the study of the atom would not have been going towards weaponry. The study of the atom, the deeper studies of the atoms in the early 1900s would have been more about energy, you know, more so than destruction. Because if it was done in the early 1800s, then World War II, I mean World War One, World War II never happens. Appreciate you being here, Boondocks. Always appreciate you. But yeah, a lot of those things, Korean War doesn't happen, Vietnam War doesn't happen. Uh, all these other wars and minor conflicts around the world don't happen. Desert Storm doesn't happen. There wouldn't even be a need for standing militaries. I mean, you would still have police forces, and you would still have. Um, he just put some. So Terry just put it up there. A universal police force would be out of control. I don't see it being out of control. Would you still have racism that goes on? So you're still going to have police forces trying to treat people that look differently. That propaganda has made it where police are afraid of the citizenry. You will still have. You're still going to have that. You're still going to have some bad police. You're still going to have some police who are looking for bribes. You're going to have police who are race race based. You'll have some that's gender based. That's don't like LGBTQ. You will still have some of that. And those are some of the hard things to deal with. Think about it. A one world government, that means countries like Saudi Arabia and Iran, they're going to have to give up how they treat women. They're going to have to give up how they treat the LGBTQ community. A lot of those things have to go away in order for it to work. Yep. And that should probably be the world anthem. John Lennon's Imagine. Oh, y'all leave me early today. What the hell going on a Wednesday? Well, y'all got to get to a bar. They're having hump day, special drinks. You got to get to the happy hour. Happy hour over. Y'all leaving me. But I appreciate you being here. I don't see a police force being no different than they are right now, except you got to think the police force in every country doesn't function the same. I felt completely safe around police when I lived in Europe. When I lived in Germany and I would go throughout Europe, felt perfectly safe around the police. In Turkey, I felt perfectly safe around police. Hell, even in Dubai and Bahrain and Qatar and Kuwait, perfectly at peace around the police. Uh, it's America that I had issues around the police. So the world police force wouldn't all be the same. Think about it, Sean. You'd be able to go live in a country where you're not being treated poorly by the police. And religion would go back to just being more of a personal thing, where it's almost like um, when people accepted everybody else's religion as something for their own. Oh, busy night at work. What kind of work you do? What kind of work you do? See if I can use you, or if somebody else could use you. What kind of work you do? Inquiring minds want to know. Inquiring mind. Don't forget the tithe before you go. I'm sorry, I gotta make myself laugh sometimes. Don't forget the tithe. Don't forget the tithe. Well, what kind of work do all y'all do? Some of y'all may be able to connect with one another. But yes, the possibility of corruption in the police force is there. Um, I think Russia was one of the few places where it was kind of like, as far as being in that whole Europe, Asia area. Any other place I was in, never had any problems. America is the only place I had problems. Oh, you from Boston? Oh my gosh. My wife is a Celtics fan. Amarillo, Texas. Where the hell is that? How far away? So, so Terry, you shouldn't have any problems coming to Corpus Christi. Amarillo is, ooh, that way up North Texas. Shit, that's a flight or a long ass drive. Or shit, that's about 7 hours, 7, 8 hours, 9 hours from Corpus Christi. So if you're anywhere near Dwayne, which I think he's in North Carolina, some home remodeling. Overnight freight and lumber truck operator. Okay. Got a transportation guy. All the way up there. Trying for disability right now, back in leg issues. Are you in the military? Were you former military? I have a special place in my heart for making sure veterans get their disability. It's about the only free coaching that I do. Only free coaching that I do. And for Social Security, that's a whole nother story. I don't know as much about Social Security. This TBI. What's a TBI? Y'all know y'all can't just throw shit out there. I ain't in the military no more. I don't know all the acronyms. But I love the fact that a one world government would push back religion. It would go back to the house, to people's houses. Oh, traumatic brain injury. Yeah, that should. Major events like traumatic brain injury should cause you to reevaluate a lot, see what's really important in life. Oh, you had an infection in your spine. So, okay. Yeah, I don't know much about Social Security disability. Oh, you suck all kind of ways. You're from Philly. That's a problem. Steelers fan. That's my second team, but still a problem. Y'all ain't got a quarterback, and you're probably not going to get. I mean, y'all gonna wind up getting old boy from the Jets since y'all just lost Fields to the Jets and uh, Wilson to New York, the Giants, but Wilson needed to go. So y'all about to get saddled with old boy from the Jets. Now that would be an interesting one, Soter. There are countries, how would they balance out the drug issue? You got states that allow for all the drugs in America. You got countries like Holland that allow all the drugs. That one's going to be that would be an interesting one. That will probably still remain governing body of that province, maybe. Like those countries or states that already allow for certain drugs, that would be interesting. Um, Food would be interesting. You know how like there are 100 ingredients or more that aren't allowed in most countries, but the United States allows those preservatives and shit. Those kinds of things, I would probably say I would leave it up to the province because I would call all of them, every country will become a province, and whoever the provincial governors are, I would, and uh, you know how we have like the governor and the state legislature. However, those local governments run it, I would let them still run it that way. Mhm. I would. And world investments will be interesting. Like countries would be able to, other provinces will be able to invest in other areas, but everything will be above board, and it'll just be more business. We will still have some of those problems where uh, some provinces are trying to take advantage of other provinces, but at least there's a one world court that can now be involved in it instead of, and it becomes a matter of court instead of a matter of war. Hmm. I can understand that would be very difficult to deal with. You have to pretty much relearn how to be an adult. Yeah, I need to be in the gym 3 times a week. Oh, you suck, Rad. Can't stand New York. I only like the Giants for a little while because I was a Lawrence Taylor fan. Don't like the Jets. Can't stand the Knicks. Never liked the Knicks. I hope Atlanta gets the AC. If we get the AC, because I think we can beat, we have a better chance against Cleveland. And then if we beat Cleveland, the Hawks, I'm talking about basketball, beat Cleveland, most likely we'll come up against a very tired New York Knicks. And then we can beat the Knicks. I don't like the Knicks. Now you're in Amarillo, so if you need some moving going on, You contact Soter in Amarillo, Texas. So you need some moving in Texas. Soter is our person. Yeah, it could be worse, and I'm glad that it's not. And just keep working through it. Eat as clean as you can possibly eat, and keep exercising. If you in Amarillo, need some moving, call. Get in contact with Soter. I'm an Atlanta fan, true and true, but I do have second teams like the Steelers and the Spurs. Only the Braves. Look, man, I was a David Robinson fan, I was a Tim Duncan fan, and I'm a Wemby fan. So I am a San Antonio fan to a certain degree. Unless they play the Atlanta Hawks, yeah, I'm not a fan. Not a fan at all. And if I'm correct, if you need some insurance, life insurance, contact Isaac. If you need some insurance, life insurance, it is life insurance, right? Contact Isaac for all your life insurance needs. You're contacting Isaac. You got to build one another up. It is within my thought process that within our community of non-believers, we need to help each other build economically, because let's be real. If you got a group and that group is doing well economically, doing well with their relationships and well with their health, it attracts other people because they're going to want some of what you got. Hey, Dwayne, don't make me come to North Carolina and whoop your ass. We had a debacle. Yes, we did. Against them stank ass Patriots. Don't be talking, and against Denver. Don't be talking about my team, man. Stay off my team. If you value your life, Dwayne, just because you're a member on YouTube, don't mean you get a pass. I might have some arthritis, but I can still whoop that ass. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. You can always do a super chat. It gets to me a lot later, but you can always do a super chat. It's fine. I appreciate super chats as well on YouTube. Super chats work. Stars work on Facebook. It will eventually make its way to the cigar fund. Matter of fact, well, all super chats between now and the end of this month is going to go to my wife's 50th birthday, whatever we do for her 50th. So if you want my wife to have a great 50th, super chats and stars. So that's where that's going to go. You can only gift memberships. Damn. See, this is why we need a one world government. All these restrictions. I forgot where Trifold is at, but he has to use a VPN to connect. And then, because he's using the VPN, you get limited on what you can do. But I always do see when you give memberships to people, and I appreciate that. I do appreciate it. You should suffer with them Jets because y'all got a stupid ass song. Jets, Jets, Jets. But see, that's why we need a one world government. Financial transactions will work a lot easier around the world. Communication will work a lot easier around the world. Let me put this up for Trauma, even though I know you can probably see it because both of y'all believe are on Facebook. And that's how I'm supposed to talk to them. Might understand what they're going through. Reach out to me. Hit me up on Facebook. So hopefully, Trauma, you see that? Is that why you call yourself Trauma Aladdin? Just curious. See? And if we had one world government, your ability to live in Malta or Athens, Greece would be a lot easier. Now, if you can get a passport, it's not that hard. But if you're moving to Malta or Greece, you need to either find a job that's already there for you or have a way of making money that doesn't require you having to make money at a job in those countries or start a company in those countries. Malta, as long as you're not trying to live right next to the ocean, unless you were willing to take like a 1-bedroom apartment or 2-bedroom apartment, Malta is actually cheaper than most places. Amarillo, not as cheap. It's probably about on par with Amarillo. But if you are willing to go into the hillside in Malta or in Greece, well, you said Athens. You have to go out to the hillside of Athens. Down in the city center of Athens, that's going to cost you. That's you might well say you're living in Chicago. But if you go out into the hills in the countryside of Greece, you don't need nowhere near as much money to live off of. Now, if you was willing to go to Crete, it's much cheaper to live in Crete, especially about a mile off the beach, within a mile off the beach. I'm a big time student of where you can go live for a lot less. A lot less. I'm all for that. Sean get that disability, boy. You can live in some places that are much, much cheaper. I have neither read it nor have seen the movie of Animal Farm. I'm gonna have to check it out. I don't know. Would your significance drop dramatically? I mean, are you more significant because you live in America? You know, I understand what you're saying, but would it really? All of a sudden, the world opens up to you. You know, economies aren't going to change too drastically in different parts of the world. I'm gonna check out Brave New World as well. I'm gonna check Brave New World out. So Brave New World and Animal Farm. Put those on my little list. Hopefully, if I can't find a movie, I'll check an audio book. I'll do an audio book and a movie if they got both. I know the movies don't necessarily give you all the same ins and out as the book would, but I still think we'll be better off. One world. One world. Might be able to figure out a whole bunch of other stuff better and quit killing each other. So I'm all for it. Of course, the Christians will lose their shit. Christians and Muslims, they be swearing up and down the world's about to end because of some prophecy, and 1,000 years later, if their religions are still around, they'll be saying the same bullshit. But I'd happily take that shot and let them cry wolf. Now, isn't Dark City supposed to be like the forerunner of the Matrix? Isn't that supposed to be like kind of Matrix-like, but not so computer-ish? Because I've heard of Dark City. I've heard of it as well, but honestly, I've never seen it. I've never seen it, so I can't speak on it. It's just when The Matrix came out, people were like, oh, it's kind of a remake of Dark City. I remember people saying that. Wasn't exactly sure if it was. But I don't think our significance will go down. I mean, I would find myself to be just as significant. Just having more access, though. Like, your social media doesn't have the same access in China or India or North Korea and Saudi Arabia and all these other places that it has right now. So your reach is kind of kicked a little bit. It came out before The Matrix? Okay, I thought so. Yeah, those are some of the richest people in the world. If you still got fruit trees, your air is not as polluted, you know, you got family, friends, it is, if you look up those zones where people live longer, they're generally not in your more industrialized countries. Like lifespans in America and most countries in Europe and China and stuff, their lifespans are shorter than people living in Japan and Philippines and Costa Rica, Guyana. Barring any major medical issues, they live longer. She got paid. I think they paid her off. The lady who was making the claim that she wrote The Matrix, I think they paid her off and then she went quietly with her money. Yeah, I kind of got sick of The Matrix too. It's like The Matrix came out and the simulation theory just got this huge, huge boost. And everybody was jumping to it and believing in and running with it. And there were so many non-scientific aspects of that movie. Like the amount of energy it would take to maintain a human body does not provide enough energy for machines to live. You know, it's just too much. You know, it's just it just became. Uh, if the I've always said that if the Earth got scorched like they claimed it did in the Matrix, the machines wouldn't say, "Oh, well, we're just going to use humans as batteries." No, they would. The more logical thing to do was to erect some type of solar situation above the clouds. Humans as batteries? No, they would just wipe out humans because they would have no need for them. So I was like, The Matrix, it was like, okay, it's a good movie, but y'all going a little overboard with the thought process here. It was very unscientific. I do not know what that is. Magnified piezoelectric power? What the hell is that? Trusted over phone. Magnified piezoelectric power. Refers to techniques designed to enhance the electrical energy output of piezoelectric energy harvested by amplifying the mechanical strain to the piezoelectric material. This can be achieved through various methods, including dynamic. All right, what is piezoelectric material though? Oh, from crystals. I can see that since the only way we can come up with quantum computing is to utilize crystals. Well, so far the only way. Yeah, America gives you a lot, but the stress of America will kill you. It will kill you, kill you, kill you. Yep. Electric vehicles use way more energy. And then you got to think about all the petroleum that is used to create an electric vehicle. And then what we're going to do with all them batteries once they're no good? That man I brought up a dead cartoon movie, but that cartoon movie is probably more accurate. That we will destroy the earth to the point where we have to take haven in space to let the earth heal itself. You are absolutely right about that one. Absolutely right. Let you get your coffee. Well, my coffee's gone. Coffee gone, cigar gone. Back to my sadness. Back to my sadness. Back to my sadness. No cigar. I'll be all right. Now, why didn't you just put it as part of that statement? Let me recommend the greatest movie to expose the fraud of religion. It's from 2001 AI. 2001 AI. I don't seem to remember that one. Hey, Dwayne, I just made my wife watch that movie, The Rat Race, the stupid movie, The Rat Race. I was like, pick a movie. She didn't pick a movie. I picked The Rat Race, so she had to watch. And Jude's Law. I don't think I've ever seen Jude's Law. AI. Now, I'm big on movies, so I may have seen it. No, I haven't seen this one. Yeah, it got the little Sixth Sense boy in it. Nope, that's not one I saw. Oh, it's on Paramount. I got that, and I got Prime, so it's on Paramount and Prime. We got those two. All right, Angelina, you want to watch AI? I know she's listening. I like Jude Law. Don't be seeing no little googly eyes. My wife was not a movie person when she was growing up, so a lot of those older movies she has not seen. So she just watched Caveman the other day. My wife thought the movie Caveman was better than The Princess Diary. Is that what? No. Yeah, The Princess Diary. She thought Caveman was better than The Princess Diary. I was like, are you serious? My name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die. Just that line alone. Just that line alone. Also, AI tried to be more like a Mad Max movie. Yep. Oh, see how she? You see how she trying to bust me out, y'all? Yes, I just watched Pulp Fiction for the first time. Just watched it, and I thought it was pretty cool about how like everything comes in, everything revolves in this little circle. That there are connections. Uh, that everything has this connection point, whether people realize it or not. Everything is connected. Are you from Guyana, Peter? I know some people from Guyana. I did like Willow. Ooh, I don't. She's probably never seen Willow. Yeah, but Pulp Fiction, circular storytelling. I thought it was. I thought it was good. I don't know. I don't think it was as good as everybody was making it out to be, but I thought it was good. Oh, so you are from Guyana? Yep, I know two people from Guyana, and it's weird. The two people that I know from Guyana know each other because they ran track together uh, in Guyana in like the early '90s to up to the '96 Olympics. They ran track together, so they knew each other from track. So it's like Pulp Fiction. It's a little circle, it's a little 6 degrees of separation. Yep, The Warriors, great movie. I am not watching Howard the Duck. You can cancel that one. Do you think that the introduction of religion indoctrination in American schools will weaken the U.S. technologically? It'll be a push and a pull, but yes, because some of the children who will be indoctrinated into it, their minds won't be open enough to see beyond what the religion is saying, and they may want to do a halt, like in the so-called dark ages of technology. But I think there'll be enough who, but because we live in such a technological age, I don't think it's going to hurt as bad. Yeah. Oh, so you can. So do you know the Argyles? I think her dad used to be the president of Ghana at one point. This might have been way before your time because this she that was in. I met her in the early 2000s, but her dad used to be the president of Ghana. I think the other guy, I have no idea what his last name is. Yeah, I have no idea what his last name is. But yes, the Warriors. Can you dig it? All right, poppers. I was so mad when I found out that the radio lady was the mean ass lady in Lean on Me. No, Guyana, the last one, the one that's in South America. But I met her at a fitness. Um, I met her at a fitness. What do you call it? Convention. The one in South Africa. I mean, yeah. But her last name was Argyle. She was a high jumper. Went to LSU. He was a sprinter. I don't remember what college he went to. I think it was somewhere up in New York though. But he was a 100 and 200 meter sprinter. So I just thought it was interesting how the only two people I know from Guyana know each other. Small world that we live in. That's why we need to be one world government. The world is already small. Might as well condense it. One of Tim Curry's best movies. I guess Tim Curry's the one who made The Warriors. Warriors, come out and play. I've seen that movie too many times. Too many times. But if we had one world government, that's about as max violence. That's towards that would be the normal of violence that we would have. Kind of like what was depicted in the Warriors. Of course, there will be little higher escalations. So Peter Sam, his last name is Gittins. I don't know if you know any Gittins in Guyana. My niece grandmother is in Argyle, so yes, it's a small world. Yep, see, so a couple of degrees of separation. I know Peter. I know Peter Sam. It was influenced by Greek mythology. The Warriors movie was influenced by Greek mythology. I have to think about that. I never considered that. Specifically, what Greek mythologies was it inspired by? Ah, you see that, Angeline? He went to school with Brian Gittins. So the next time I talk to this joker, which will be soon, I'm gonna ask him if Brian Gittins, what's the relation there? See, small world, one people. That's what I think we need to move towards. But, ladies and gentlemen, we're about to call it a night. Oh yeah, and Peter, he said he still got family there. My wife knows them better than I do. You know, I met Gittins, the guy with the last name Gittins through my wife. Yep. As far as people of color in this side of the world, we are separated by a few where the boat went. Most of us. Most of us are only separated by where the boat went. That's it. But we're gonna go ahead and call this a night here, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate y'all being here. I know I started about 20 minutes later than I wanted to, but as a short little recap, we saw that the book of Joshua 21 and 20 really just continued to show the non-historicity of the Bible. Um, it continued to show that non-historicity, that those things could not have happened, is an impossibility for them to have happened. And that just like those people took over other people's religious religions, took over the Canaanite altars. They took over the altars. The same process has always happened when a conquering nation comes and takes over someone else's area. We'll continue to see those kinds of things happening. If the new religion came about, they would take over all the Christian religion, churches, and all that, and utilize them in the same way. We also, what do we else we talk? We also thank the one person who supplied me with cigars. I appreciate that always. And we discussed the benefit of a one world government and a little bit of Gnosticism. I think next on Monday, we're going to dive deep into Gnosticism. We'll take a deep dive through Gnosticism on Monday. So if I forget, y'all remind me that we're going to take a deep dive into Gnosticism on Monday. We're going to talk about the Demiurge, the Primora, the Sophia, the battle in the first, second, third, and fourth century between Gnostics and what is the Orthodox Christianity. We're going to dive deep into that as well, and how we all should just become one world. Is a one world government would be more beneficial than the world it is as the world is right now. So I appreciate everybody for being here. I posted a video right before I started this live. Please go and check that video out. And I will be posting videos all the rest of the weekend. Right. Oh, and we did talk about Hermeticism, and we talked about people who may want to find this book online. It's still online. You can't get rid of stuff on the internet. And let's see who's willing to see if we can make a philosopher's stone. So yes, we're like the Transformers up in this joint. This chat has more knowledge than meets the eye. And we also found out where people were living and working, and that we may be able to help one another. The Warrior movie was based on influence by Greek tales of, I ain't gonna say this name right, Anabasis, Anabasis by Xenophon. Okay. I'll have to read that. See, I'm curious. No, I didn't. I didn't. So Terry, you good? So I look forward to next week conversation, next Monday conversation about Gnosticism. We'll go into that one. And y'all have a great week, great weekend. Watch all the videos, share all the videos, so we can beat this algorithm. And I appreciate you guys. Thank you very much. And me and my wife will watch the movie AI before the weekend is out. So always remember you have to free yourself to be yourself because your greatness is non-negotiable. Good journey, good vibration. Yes, and we will the Essene plan. I will do some research into that one.